always another prospect. And once you get good at handling objections, sales get 10 times more fun because it's like a real salesman right? The no is when the sales start.
If you figure out a way to kind of work memes and gifs in there, you're kind of you're being a little bit more indifferent.
You're being a lot indifferent.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. You're being playful.
And one thing you want to be mindful when you're following up, leave out the I'm just following up. Don't say I'm just following up. You say, hey, I'm giving you a holler, Mr. Tim, to see if you're ready to make a decision.
Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the Hook Better Leads podcast. And today I've got my man Dashaun with me.
What's up, baby?
We're talking about ways to get the deal done. And you were talking earlier about how impulse factors are a way to get more deals done. Can you tell me a little bit about what this is and why it matters to a roofing company and their sales team?
Yeah, first and foremost, man, it's an honor and a privilege to be here, man. I appreciate you having me on the podcast. And thank you for allowing me to speak to your sales team today. So that was pretty fun, man. Well, just the whole marketing company. Yeah. But the impulse factors, why is it important, right? Because we as human beings, we buy off emotions and we justify off logic, right? So most of the times we make emotional decisions, and then when we double back, we like, man, why I did that, right? You ever been into the store? Your wife ever been into the store? She buy a pair of shoes, and then she leave the mall or whatever, and she like, man, I shouldn't have bought that pair of shoes, right? It's a very emotional buy. So we get impulsed all the time, right? So for example, when you go to the grocery store, right?
Dude, well, I just got that skeleton.
Right.
I bought that skeleton at Target.
Pure impulse.
And I didn't really know why.
Pure impulse.
I wanted it, but then later on I came up with a reason because it's good for our for our company.
It's Halloween time, right? Yeah. So you go down the cereal aisle, right? And then if you think about it, when you go down the cereal aisle, all the good cereal is at eye level. Right? But it's not at your eye level. It's at kids' eye levels. Because in the cereal aisle, they're trying to impulse your kids to get them to buy the Frosted Flakes and all these things like that, right? So once I started getting into sales, I started learning these impulse factors. So it's 4 impulse factors that make people buy immediately. The first one is sense of urgency, right? Who's really great at creating a sense of urgency? I think it's Home Shopping Network. Right, Home Shopping Network, where they got the timer in the side of the corner. And they're like, hey, man, we only got so many vacuums left. You need to get a vacuum, right? So,
oh, dude, I saw this great thing on social the other day. It was essentially like the most important question is why now?
Exactly.
Why now?
Why now? So with our industry, insurance restoration, there's so many laws changes to where the sense of urgency is perfect. So the way we like to use a sense of urgency, hey, if you don't move forward now, you only got like 6 to 8 months before insurance companies to try to find reasons where they don't want to pay for your roof. Because technically homeowners got like 30 days to notify the insurance company in the event that damage happened to their property. So once you get out of that 30-day range, now we playing with homeowners. We like, hey, you're actually outside of that 30-day range. Now your insurance company going to be finding reasons not to pay for it. So let's get something done today.
An HVAC company sold my wife the other day, and they did it on financing, but they were like, yeah, there's a law changing in January, and there always is laws changing, right? But in that case, there's a law changing, and we're going to have to charge more because of this particular law. And my wife went for it, and I said, well, you get to make these decisions.
I trust you.
You do the work for a lot of the stuff at the house, so you get to make these decisions.
But that's a prime example. Sense of urgency. They creating a sense of urgency. Hey, in 3 months, you're going to be paying more money. Let's get the deal done today, right? So that's the first one, sense of urgency. Second one, fear of loss. Fear of losing out. Right? Who really good at that? Jordans. Kanye West. Right? When Jordans drop, if you don't get them within that range, you're not getting that 200 pair that drop. So now you got to buy them on the resale. So now you can get your Jordans for 200. You're paying 400 for your Jordans. Right? So they create that fear of loss. So when we knocking doors, when we out there talking to homeowners, there's a couple ways we do the fear of loss. One way we do it is we let them know today the only day we're in the neighborhood. Oh, well, can you come back tomorrow? No, today's the only day we're going to be here. You either do business with us today, I might be in another neighborhood next week. Or the other way we do fear of loss is we let them know you in the range of getting dropped by your insurance company. If you don't get the roof placed now, they're going to drop you. Now they're going to be without insurance. So that fear of loss, right? So we try to create that fear of loss. So you got sense of urgency, fear of loss. Then you got the Jones effect. That's the most common used impulse factor. Hey, Tim did it. You should do it. Hey, Mr. John down the street? He did it. You should do it.
We use that in marketing all the time.
All the time.
People like Seth Godin is one of the badasses of marketing, and he's like it's identity.
Yep.
It's people like me do things like this. People like us do things like this.
Yep.
And like if you can tap into that, then it's very powerful and moves people along.
Yeah, because, like for marketing, they could be like, oh, well, our other $8 million roofing company, these are the results they got. They did it. Andy's Roofing did it. This roofing company did it. So that's who we do business with. So it's like, oh, well, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. So
and with the homeowners, like, people, 5 houses down, they did the siding as well. And so you might want to take advantage of this, the upgrade in that situation, and they're like, whoa, it seems like people like us are doing the siding too.
Or people in our neighborhood, right? So the Jones effect, and then I got a special one with the Jones effect as well. I call it OPB, which is other people's builds. So I say if you're ever in a neighborhood knocking doors, right, and you see a build going up, you should knock around that build. Even if it's not yours, somebody else already did the work, and you could use that as a Jones effect to get business. Now, you don't take credit for the work.
Yeah.
You say, hey, no, we didn't do that roof, but we do the same thing they do, help people get new roofs through the insurance, and you just use somebody else's build to generate business.
I like that because I always say do the 12 around your jobs, but if you need another way to get in there, I like that. A lot of people don't like it, but I'm like, man, I say the hardest thing to do is sell a roof, right? Like go out there and generate that business and sell that roof. The best time to sell a roof is when a roof is going up. So I see contract roofers all the time sell a roof, and instead of working their build, they out somewhere else in another neighborhood. And I think it's the most idiotic thing. So I'm like, hey, if you ain't going to work it, I'll work it for you, right? And then the last Jones effect, which is, in my personal opinion, not the Jones effect, the last impulse factor, which in my personal opinion is the most effective one of all 4 of them, it's indifference. Which is, indifference is you don't care whether your client does business with you or not. Like, you're indifferent against the sale. If they tell you yes, so what? They tell you no, so what? Right? Like, we always say, like, I always tell people, man, you don't have to deal with these problems before I do. I'm just trying to help you out. Like, but if you don't want my help, cool. And, we don't make people feel like we need them. Yeah.
Right? We try to give people off, the vibe of, like, I bring more value to the situation than you do, so I'm not begging for your business.
You're framing the conversation
exactly
in a way that's like you are the powerful person in
positioning.
Man, dude, one of the first books I ever read about sales was Pitch Anything. Have you ever read that?
Love that book.
I mean, it's so
that
good.
book changed the game for me.
Yeah, he talks about framing so much in the most powerful frames, and if you are in the position of power, you know the laws around, insurance, and you're able to actually equip them, but you don't I like what you're saying. You don't need their
I don't
sale.
need their business.
I mean, because that's the thing is like, it is off-putting when somebody has commission breath, right? And they're coming up to you and you can tell they need this. And plus, why are you guys so needy all the time?
Seriously, why are you so
like you should be in that mindset where I got deals coming to me if there's not. And I mean, people give me shit about this because I shadowed a roofing sales guy, and he said this exact thing. And he was a very high closing sales guy, and he goes, "Yeah, there's 10 homeowners behind you that I can help. Yeah, I don't need this." And like people were commenting, I got 10 million views and 10,000 views. That'd be dope though.
I know, right?
So people were commenting like, "Whoa, that's not nice to the homeowner if you don't need their business." But guess what? They're more likely to close. They're more likely to close if you have a little bit of that. You're not leading with the vibe. You have that vibe in the back of your mind.
It's human nature, right? Because even when you like a female, right? Like in high school, if you liked a girl, right?
Yeah.
Women never liked a man that was super needy. Like if they say they liked you, or you like texting them every day, calling them every day, like it turns them off, and they kind of pull back. Now, if you do the opposite, if you pull back, then they come to you. They like, whoa, I thought you liked me. Dang, I don't hear from you no more. I thought we was cool. Homeowners the same way. If you showing up to that homeowner house and they can sense your neediness, They take advantage of you. Now, if you show your homeowners like, hey, listen, I don't need you. I'm just here to help you. If you want my help, cool. If you don't, no big deal. I'm going to just go help somebody else. They got a different respect for you because they see that you're not there like needing their business to succeed. So that last impulse factor is indifference. And another thing that go key with indifference is emotional maturity, which is if you get a big roof, cool. If you get a small roof, cool. Like you maintain that same level of even keelness. Versus if you close a big deal, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got a big deal. So you got to maintain that emotional maturity.
That's good. Man, yeah, another badass of marketing. Sorry, I have a lot of marketing frameworks. The book is Business Made Simple, Donald Miller. And he talks, I had everybody in the company read it, so it's pretty good. He talks about just making it, it's the same concept, but he talks about making it an easy game, and he talks like it's fine either way, and it's basically the same topic. He was relating it back to dating and like in high school and stuff like that, and like people don't want to date the guy that like is gonna go kill himself if he don't get a date. Like that's scary, man. Like, so if you need it, they don't want it. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
And I love that analogy because it we've all been there. I've been in a position where I've been a little. I wanted it a little too much. And
text me back, please.
Yeah. They can smell it on you. So I think that it. How do you get out of that though? Like, how do you get it if you're in that now? Let's say somebody's watching this is in a little bit of a funk. And they want to get out of that. Do they have to fake it till they make it to get out of that funk and act like they don't need this? And then will they get out of it? Or because to get that momentum going, where do you start?
Are you sick of what passes for leads these days?
What's wrong with share leads? Or Facebook ad leads? Yeah!
Not much, unless you want to be the lowest bidder on every job. I wear a lot of hats. But search engine marketing and website, I've passed off to a Google specialized team.
So the first thing they need to do is be consistent with their grind. Why? Because they needy, because they're not putting in enough work. So they'll take any deal that come their way, red flags, any type of situation. So first and foremost, be consistent. 6 days a week, 4 hours a day, or whatever you choose to do. But if you out there, you'll get deals. And once you start getting deals, you get less needy. When you don't have any deals, you'll sign up anybody that come to you. So the first thing to do to get out of that funk is get out there and be consistent.
Yep.
You know what I mean? When you marketing enough, you're not tripping about that one roofer that said no. Why? Because you got 15 other roofers that you can follow up with, that you can call, right? So when you got a big pipeline, it doesn't bother you whether somebody say yes or no.
I will say, even when we haven't been, like, just to relate it to our thing, I've tried to be selective even when we didn't have a full pipeline. Because I don't want to, because it's very important to me. Our reputation is extremely important to me. So I need to make sure there's no, like, well, there's not going to be never any, but there's not too many people out there that didn't feel like we had alignment with what we said we were going to do, and like that that we delivered, and there's reasonable expectations that we could live up to. And there are homeowners too that you don't want to work with, that a roofing company should avoid. So it's almost like saying, like, getting into that selective mindset before you can actually be selective. So you're like, if I can get a 5-star review and a referral out of this person, that's when I want this roof. I feel like sometimes getting into that selectivity mindset. Do you think that transfers over to roofing, or am I out of place there?
No, selectivity is everything, because even when we out there knocking doors, right, it's a lot of homeowners that say, can you eat my deductible? Can you cover my deductible, right? So those are the perfect guys to be selective with. Hey, how you doing? We're a little bit selective with who we do business with. You may not even qualify for our services, right? A lot of people want us to cover deductibles. We're just trying to make sure you're not one of those people. And then now people are like, oh no, wow, I want to qualify.
And I'd say that like kind of like implies that you might be unethical if you're going to eat the deductible, which might have implications on the service that you're providing, and that you might cut corners.
I've actually had a guy lose a deal.
To close more deals, I
had a guy lose a deal because he ate a deductible. Told the homeowner up front, man, listen, I just want to get in this neighborhood. We'll cover your deductible. We just want this corner house. We just want to have our sign up. Dude, let us file a claim, everything. Called him back, said, hey, man, like you guys, but the fact that you want to cover my deductible, that made me feel uncomfortable. I'm going with somebody else.
Yeah, because a lot of these homeowners, like, maybe the $1,000 isn't much, but maybe the fear of getting some kind of like they're probably not gonna. Yeah. But I mean, like the fear of getting some kind of prosecution or something like that is a bigger deal to them than the $1,000.
The thought of insurance fraud, that kind of turns some people off. So selectivity is everything. Even, when I'm vetting roofing companies, I make them fill out a company questionnaire. Hey, man, fill out this questionnaire, just see if we're a good fit for each other. And, oh, well, I hope so, man, or X, Y, and Z. So I think selectivity is everything, and I think certain salespeople master that sooner than later. But for all my new guys out there, let's say if you're within like 6 months to a year, start getting selective, start learning how to sell with indifference, because once you do that, then you become a force to be reckoned with.
I love that. Okay, so we covered the basics. Can you say them one more time for me, the 4?
Sense of urgency, fear of loss, indifference, and the Jones effect.
All right, I love those. And I feel like those are all like things to like close the deal. These are like factors to help you close the deal. It's like it is a little bit around that, like that moment of getting a signature, right? Is there anything else that you'd say is to get more signatures this week, these guys could do, that somebody watching this could do? Man.
Oh, man, to get more signatures this week, right, outside of just being out there and putting in the work, right, because it's a Chinese proverb that says if a man works hard, the land will not be lazy, right? So I think a lot of guys don't work hard enough to get enough deals, right? So that's the first and foremost, get out there. Second thing I would say to help you close more deals, learn how to be in the right neighborhoods. What do I mean by that? You need to be in neighborhoods 15 to 20 years old, 14 to 20 years old. Why? Because you want to go where you celebrate it and not tolerate it, right? So a lot of these guys just driving around, pulling up in the neighborhood, get out and they knock. But if you take time to prepare, do a little bit of research, go at home at night, like look around, take your Hell map and really find these profitable neighborhoods.
Shout out to Hell Trace.
Shout out to Hell Trace, baby. Right? So
get Dashaun on your shit. Hey, this is a good guy to collaborate with if you're a brand serving roofers.
Much love, right?
When it comes down to trying to find business in the winter, when the storm's over, when there's no fresh damage to work, we'll go back to Hell Trace. We'll track down a swath that most contractors haven't had the opportunity to go out and address yet, because they're so busy chasing the big storm. As long as we've got a date within reason, we can chase that storm, we can pick up jobs, we can pick up leads.
So you take your Hell Trace map, right, and you go out there and you map out your neighborhoods, and now you got 20 to 30 neighborhoods to where you can pull up in. So now you're more efficient. Now you're not wasting time driving around. And when you're in the right neighborhoods, man, you meet the right people, right? So what I mean by that, when you're pulling up in them 15 to 20 of your neighborhoods, even if these people don't necessarily got damage, they're thinking about replacing their roof. So now you're knocking on the door and they're like, we've been thinking about getting the roof done. You're like, that's why I'm here. So now you got a higher chance of closing because these people actually need your service. These people actually got problems. You can actually provide those solutions to them. But a lot of people drop the ball on finding the right neighborhoods, man. Once I got really good at finding neighborhoods, that's when my business exploded.
I love it. How about the talk to me about follow-up. Talk to me about, like, what do you text when a deal goes cold? What do you do when a deal goes cold? Do you text and call? Do you do the 1-2? Sometimes I do that. Or man, with B2B, I go on Facebook Messenger. I'll call them on Facebook Messenger because it's louder. The ring is louder. But like, what do you do if like that last couple? Like, I think this one should close. This seems like a deal that should be closing. How many times do you follow up, and
I'm glad you asked that.
What do you do?
So I'm a little bit different than most people when it comes to follow up. I'm a firm believer because I'm a heavy door knocker, right? So I'm a firm believer. The way I met you is the way I'm gonna follow up. So I'm not gonna text you. I'm not gonna call you because you can look at my text and not answer. You can look at my phone call and not answer. But when I'm at your door and I'm peeking at you through them blinds, and you see me like, dang, he out there, and I'm steady knocking. Now you got to deal with me face to face. And I think that's way more difficult for somebody to tell you no in person than it is for them to tell you no through a text over a phone. So don't get me wrong, I do text. Okay. Hey, Mr. Tim, reaching out to you, see if you're ready to make a decision when it comes to doing the roof. We did find enough damage. The insurance company will pay for this, right? Send them that text. They don't respond, cool beans. I'm sending an email. I learned this from Dale Childress, so I want to give them credit. When I send the email, I put the R.
Master closer, baby.
Yep, I put the RE in the subject line because it looked like they already replied. So then when they emailing you back, it says RE in it.
Ooh, I like that one.
So now they think they already replied back. So they're like, oh, what is this? And they're more prone to open it, right? And then
I will throw out here just a shout out for memes. Mix in a meme with your sales follow up.
I saw you post that, man.
Yeah.
I saw you post that.
I feel like if you can get them to laugh, dude, they're gonna respond. Or if you like, it also just feels like empathy. I think like
Dang,
if you're
I don't
trying to
do
be
them like
funny,
that.
yeah, like if you're trying to get them like. It feels like you're being more human if you're sending them a GIF or a meme.
Did you post the thing when it said, "Hey, don't leave me hanging," and it's the roofer falling off the roof?
I did. I don't think I did, but I think it's good.
Yeah,
you should use that. Find that image and
I seen somebody post that one.
That's good shit. Basically, to me, anything where you can get a few memes or GIFs or something like that kind of like just a way to cut through with a different thing and maybe just break it open out of just like so serious, because sometimes sales get so serious.
It's so serious.
And like in this way, like if you did this, if you figure out a way to kind of work memes and GIFs in there, you're kind of you're being a little bit more indifferent.
You're being a lot indifferent.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. You're being playful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And most salespeople aren't playful.
Yeah.
And then the last way we're doing it, we're just pulling up to the door, man. Once we send the email, send the text, send the call, good voicemail, right? And one thing you want to be mindful when you're following up, leave out the "I'm just following up." Don't say "I'm just following up." You say, "Hey, I'm giving you a holler, Mr. Tim, to see if you're ready to make a decision."
I say I'm sorry for following up.
No,
I don't think that's right. I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I don't never say I'm sorry to bother you.
I say I'm sorry to bug you. Like I do. I don't think I'm doing it right.
I say I'll be brief. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Tim? I'll be brief. Reaching out to you to see if you're ready to make a decision with the roof, man. We did find enough damage to where we can help you get this thing paid for, and you are within that window to where your insurance company gonna be like not deciding to pay for it. So let's get a decision done soon, man. So I'm still using the impulse factor, right? And then I'm trying to put them in a position to make a decision, not saying I'm just following up to see where you at.
Yeah.
I'm reaching out to see if you're ready to make a decision with moving forward. And then I'm going to the house. That's the last one. And now you got to look me in my face and tell me, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And if I catch you in person, I'm going to close you 9 times out of 10.
Okay.
You know. So that's the ways I follow up. I always say the best way to follow up with people is the way you met them. And if you met them from knocking on that door, it's okay to go follow up with them at the house.
All right, I love it. Now, let's say they didn't close. Let's say they're 1 out of 10. Yep. They didn't close. We talked, so it was awesome. Dashaun came and he did a training for our whole team. It was fantastic. I had the biggest, what do you call them, pit bull?
Yep, bulldog.
Bulldog in our organization say, this is the best training we've had. So sorry if you're one of those other trainers that's come in. But basically, I said the best, you got to get to know sometimes, and then when you do get to know, ask why. And you said, I would say it a little differently. So what would you say if they said no? They say no.
Yeah.
But you want to get better. So.
Yep. So when people tell me no, right, I know a lot of people say, well, what did I do wrong? What can I do to own your business, right? So I'm big on asking interrogative questions. So some people call them open-end, some people call them closed-end. I call them verb-led versus interrogative. So what's a verb-led? Yes, no, or maybe. Why you don't want to do this? Because I don't want to. That's a verb-led. It doesn't open up the sales process, right? So I'm more interrogative. Hey, so I understand you decided you didn't want to move forward. If you don't mind me asking, what was your biggest concern about moving forward with the insurance process? If you don't mind me asking, what was your biggest hesitation? If you don't mind me asking, why wouldn't you want to take advantage of such a great opportunity? So now when I'm asking those questions, they just can't say, because I don't want to. It's like, well, this kind of bothered me. Well, I was hesitant about this, right? So what that does is it reopens up the sales process. Now you got another opportunity to close that deal. Why? Because now they just gave you the real objection. Originally, they just told you no, they didn't want to move forward. Now you just said, what was that big hesitation? What was your biggest concern? Now they done told you. Now you saying, oh, okay, now you can isolate it. So now you're saying, hey, so Mr. Tim, if I can insure X, Y, and Z, can we do business, sir? Well, yeah, man. If you can, so you telling me, Mr. Tim, if it wasn't for this, we'll be doing business today right now. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. If I can assure X, Y, and Z, can we get the deal done?
Mm-hmm. You might get another objection at that point.
Exactly, right? But at least you reopened up the sales process, and it went from a hard no to now it's another opportunity to possibly get back in there.
And I'll throw in some plugs for my usual things, which are, one, every single one of those reasons that you get after the no, if you do get reasons, is a great piece for content.
Exactly.
It's a great thing that you can do a video on social media or do a blog post about. And then if you did a video, I've been telling everybody this because it's from The Visual Sale by, I can't remember the dude's name, but The Visual Sale, super good. Mm-hmm. But basically, then you have a video that you can send to anyone from then on. Let's say if they're texting over and they said, oh, they mentioned this reason, again, you can always send them that video.
It's a good idea.
It also gets you excited about objections.
I agree.
Which I think a lot of I think some roofing salespeople, like, that scares the daylights out of them.
Oh, man, I get that all the time. How you handle this objection, deal with this objection. I'm like, bro, you need to get out there consistently. That way you can become numb to objections, actually hear them enough to where – I know a guy, his name Kenny the funny salesman, I can't think of his last name. But he says anytime he hears an objection, he writes 5 to 10 comebacks to that one objection.
Ooh, I like that. That's good.
Yeah,
dude.
it's really good.
Yeah.
Most roofing salespeople, they hear an objection and they get defeated.
Yeah.
When I hear an objection, I'm like, oh, okay. Next time we hear that, how do we overcome that?
Why do you feel that way? Why? Because I have the same reaction. Why do you feel? Is it the indifference?
I don't think it's the indifference. My personal opinion, I think it's the innate ability to compete. So I think as a natural competitor, like even on your wall it says champion for the underdog or of the underdog, right? Which tells me you already got a championship mindset, right? So I feel like people who love to win, when they lose, they like, you ain't gonna get me again. You got me once with that objection. That ain't gonna happen twice, right? So now we already preparing for that situation versus people who don't have that innate ability to compete. They're defeated.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to a little bit of like, you may not be having enough at bats right now.
Exactly.
And that might just mean you need to get heavier duty on the consistency and the activity.
100%.
The activity will give you confidence because there's always another prospect.
Always another prospect. And once you get good at handling objections, sales get 10 times more fun because it's like a real salesman know, right? The no is when the sales start. The objection is when we actually in a very good spot. Because now you really want to buy, but you're trying to justify why you don't want to buy.
And maybe some of the defeat that you feel is lack of belief. In what you do and why it's better than anyone around and why they bet. I got to get them. I'm going to do my absolute best to get them to purchase. I feel good about that because I know that what we're doing is better.
Really good.
And I want to help that person get it. So like you shouldn't, if you feel bad when somebody says no or feel like they have objections or something like that, you probably have low belief in what you're selling a little bit. And I would challenge you to, this might be spicy, but go somewhere where you believe in it more.
No, I agree. Or work with somebody who builds your belief, right? Because I'm a firm believer. I tell people all the time, it's not about the height of your knowledge, it's about the depth of your conviction, right? It's about how much you believe in what you do. People buy that before they buy how much you know about what you do. And a lot of people think, if I know the roofing material, if I know this, if I know that, if I know this, then they going to buy. And I'm like, no, they buy when they see how deep your conviction is.
And some people might not even, like, well, I just said go somewhere else. But you might find the lack of belief there, too. Because it's actually you.
It's you.
And why don't you believe it? Because if you believe that you are going to make sure that this gets done right, and, you believe that you're a roofing company, but you also believe in yourself and your diligence on the details and making sure stuff is done well. And I know that we could get into how much of that should be the roofing salesperson versus project management and different things. But there is some component of it that's you, and maybe you don't believe in your own, what you're doing.
I also want to add on top of that is maybe you need to get a roof approved and see the excitement on a homeowner's face And that really what helped my belief go to a deeper level. Because when I saw a homeowner, when I saw it was real. When I first got into this thing, man, I'm like, what insurance company paying for roof? Man, that's not like a scam. Like, I thought the same thing. Yeah. And then I saw people go through the process and it works for them. And I'm like, no, this legit. So nobody could deter me when they said it's a scam. No, I ain't worried about you, bro. I done seen too many homeowners get taken care of. And that's what really helped my belief go to a deeper level. So hang in there. Let your first homeowner get that roof installed, and your belief will go skyrocket through the roof.
I love it. Well, know what you guys should do? You guys should have Dashaun Bryant into your roofing company. He will give you a training that your people will not forget. He will give them actionable tips to close more deals.
Yep, and make more money, baby.
And you do ongoing training for roofing companies as well?
We usually do a monthly check-in. Right now we're working on a retainer, and we're also working on the online platform so they can stay plugged in.
But nonetheless, the Roof Hustlers, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. It was
good
to have you, brother.
Baby.
And the podcast is put on. What is your .com, by the way?
We don't got a website yet, I know.
Okay. The Roof Hustlers on Instagram, Facebook.
And TikTok. And YouTube.
Well, the podcast is put on by hookagency.com. Hook Agency all over social. Thank you for watching and or listening.
Be blessed.
Bye.